There was so much to see and experience at the AI Impact Summit 2026 that a lot of stuff flew under the radar. 3 or 4 stories we felt we needed to take a look at again. One was about these voice-based AI agents. Another was about this AI-powered grading system that could look at handwritten exam papers and grade students. But the one that's really made a mark was this AI-powered helmet and glove that could record real-world movements of the user doing whatever it is that they're doing. So like the developer told me, if you have Sanjeev Kapoor cooking a dish, then the AI will be able to record exactly what his fingers are doing and what he's looking at when he's doing that, which made me think, well, if we're going to have humanoids that in our kitchens that can cook as well as Sanjeev Kapoor, then, what do we need Sanjeev Kapoor for? In any case, interesting story, have a look.
The recently concluded AI Impact Summit in New Delhi brought together companies showing how AI is being applied to real-world problems. Across the show floor, the emphasis this time was on practical tools and platforms that help developers build, test, and deploy AI applications. One of those platforms stood out. For years, building AI applications has meant depending on global cloud providers, foreign infrastructure, and tools designed far from local needs. At this summit, a different approach was on display. An indigenous application layer platform built by Indian AI startup Fonadalabs.ai to let developers create voice-based AI agents using homegrown infrastructure.
Here are the headlines in English. India joins US-led Pac Silica Alliance strategic AI and chip supply chain initiative announced.
So those were the top 2 headlines that if you call this phone number and give it a prompt, they quickly give you the headlines. But this is just a starting point, and this could be expanded to any format.
Yeah, so you can attach as many tools you want. This is a very basic agent that we have created. You can create an autonomous agent. So the autonomous agent is, you assign a task to an agent, and the agent will complete that task and give it and come back to you saying that, yes, I've completed that task.
I have a question about the downside of artificial intelligence. We've been talking so much about AI, voice bots, audio bots, video bots. But on the flip side, we've also seen this being used by cyber criminals in terms of, cloning voices of loved ones and family members and scamming people. How does one deploy enough guardrails and infrastructure to ensure that we minimize that? Because we're only seeing an increase in it. And that is a concern for people.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. We are putting in guardrails. Especially we work with banking industry, so we know how we need to ensure that the data doesn't go out, and people are not getting scammed. So and there are many new technology we're going to come for a responsible AI organization. I think government is also looking at a lot of policies which would be enforced in a couple of coming months, and that's actually needed.
At the IBM booth of the summit, an AI-powered cricket simulator was on display, showing how data is transforming the way players train. We spoke to the team behind the simulator to see how artificial intelligence is redefining cricket training.
We're at the IBM booth, and there is a particular exhibit that's been getting a great deal of attention. Not sure how high-tech or how much of AI it's using, but it is certainly popular for obvious reasons. I'm going to go and have a go. Can I have a go? Just give me a second. Yeah, hang on to this. Thank you. What is happening here is the bat has motion sensors, just like, say, a Nintendo Wii. The motion sensors get all this information about technique, swing, basically all performance stats and technique stats, and they feed it to an AI system, which is run by Mistral AI chips. And it's an evaluation of your performance and technique, and it is apparently being pitched to big IPL teams right now. Very interesting. I can't wait to see something like that for golf, although I doubt it's going to improve my game.
An AI startup called Unbox Industry showcased helmets and gloves with AI built in. Designed to capture human movement in real time, from wearable sensors tracking hand and body motion, to data pipelines built to train world models, physical action is being turned into AI training data.
So we are looking at these pods where a large number of slightly smaller startups have set up their, are showcasing their products. This one's called Unbox, and it is got a very, very interesting proposition. It basically uses, artificial intelligence that is embedded into helmets and hands to capture movements, so that this information can be used to train world models. World models are basically physical AI, like how humanoids work. So, Aman, can you show us how this works?
Basically, so what we are building at Unbox Industry is the data infrastructure for world model, wherein this industry lacks the data layer that is the very important layer in building a world model.
How does it work?
So what we have built is we have built a data glove which can capture any kind of data wherein any kind of a skill performed by a human can be captured through this system.
Show us.
So this is how
Like
if the person has to pick up a bottle, you can see that in the screen.
So what is the helmet doing here?
So helmet is capturing the egocentric data, the visual data, because as a human, we also work with hand-eye coordination.
Okay, so what I'm seeing and what I'm doing with my hands,
that
is capturing both the data and correlating them both.
Yes.
And then that same data can be fed to
any humanoid or any machine that requires the data to manipulate any kind of object.
An AI-driven platform called TrueFan AI showcased how celebrity endorsements are being reimagined with generative technology. Working with celebrities, the platform creates AI-generated endorsement videos for brands and users. From tie-ups with public figures to on-demand video messages created at scale, promotions are being rebuilt by AI.
We are at the booth of a company called TrueFan AI. Now these folks have deals with celebrities and they create AI-generated videos for endorsements for people who want to use these celebs. So I'm going to try and create, I'm no celeb, but I'm going to try and create my own AI avatar and see how it works. So the first thing I need to do is scan a QR code. Okay, so I've just watched my AI video. And while it is true, I am thrilled to be here. The voice doesn't sound like me, and well, my eyes are a little too big. I'm a bit spooked, to be honest, but I shall leave it to the viewers to draw their own conclusion.
An Indian AI company called Sarvam AI has built a sovereign, full-stack AI ecosystem for enterprises, government, developers and creators. Built end-to-end in India, from compute and foundation models to platforms and real-world applications. The aim is to keep both capability and control at home.
We are with Vivek Raghavan, the founder of Sarvam AI. Now, Sarvam has been a great deal in the news for, digital sovereignty. So what does that mean in practice?
See, I think when you look at large language models and they're actually something which it's a very fundamental technology, and I think the question is not whether it's a technology that countries need to have foundationally within their own country. So that's something which is important. Sometimes people get into the habit of what is the largest model or what is the fastest chip. But in the long arc, sovereignty is much more important in core technologies. You take a technology like, for example, nuclear technology, right? There are haves and there are have-nots. And I think the question is that for India, if we have to play in this place and be among the countries that actually have access to this frontier technology, then many companies need to work on it. We are at the very beginning of this journey. I'm not making any claims that we are there, but I think it is, as a nation, important for us to do.
Okay, specifically to Sarvam now, multilingual model. What are the technical challenges of building a multilingual model for a country like India as opposed to a single language model? In fact, I mean like low resource languages essentially.
See, India is a country of many languages. And while this leads to challenges, this is also a strength. So therefore, and the ability to actually, and if you actually build something that natively thinks and works in many Indian languages, I think it is something that can go all over the world, because that's something that. So it is, our language diversity is one of the core reasons why we have to do some of these things differently as compared to the other things. The other part is, of course, we live in a country where obviously cost is very important. And so therefore we have to build things that are actually extremely efficient also. And that's the other thing that we would do differently than the global players.
What support do new startups like Sarvam AI need from the government of India?
See, I think Sarvam would not have been able to train its LLMs without the support of the India AI mission. And for that, we are obviously, very, thankful to the government. But I think in the end, the success of models like these are when these models get adopted at large scale. And that's something that's important. Otherwise, we may even make a model that is good at some point in time. But how does this model get to world class? It gets to world class when people use it. And that's really the challenge that we have to solve.